You keep chasing more. More success. More validation. More meaning. Not because you're greedy, but because somewhere along the way, you forgot what enough feels like. There's a quiet fear that whispers beneath every achievement. What if this isn't it? What if there's still more I should be doing? And so, you keep running, not always towards something, but away from the silence that asks, would you still be worthy if you stopped? We live in a world built on escalation. Every goal achieved becomes the new baseline for comparison. Every dream realized is quietly replaced by another. You don't even notice it happening. It's woven into the rhythm of your days. The heartbeat of your ambitions. They told you to aim higher. To never settle. To stay hungry. And maybe that hunger pushed you to grow. To explore, to fight for something better. But now, the hunger never ends. You've forgotten how to feel full. You've mistaken momentum for meaning. You've mistaken busyness for purpose. And you've mistaken exhaustion for progress. Enough isn't a word that fits anymore. It feels like a foreign language. A luxury reserved for those who stopped caring. But what if enough was never the opposite of ambition? What if it was the balance that made ambition sustainable? What if enough was never a finish line, but a frequency, one you can only hear when you stop running? At first, chasing more feels like progress. It feels like purpose. It feels like movement, and movement feels alive. Every new goal gives you a reason to wake up. Every new achievement becomes proof that you're not wasting time. Every compliment, every metric, every new thing you earn feeds the belief that you're moving in the right direction. But quietly, almost invisibly, the line keeps moving. You reach what used to be your dream. And it's no longer enough. The feeling fades faster each time. The satisfaction that once lasted a week now evaporates in a day. You tell yourself it's just momentum. That this is what successful people do. Keep going, keep climbing, keep growing. But deep down, you start to notice something unsettling. Every time you arrive, the destination changes. It's like chasing the horizon. The closer you get, the further it moves. You keep trying to buy more time, more security, more love, more peace. But each more only deepens the hunger. It's not that you're doing something wrong. It's that the system around you rewards emptiness. It depends on it. It thrives when you believe you're almost there. But not quite. Your attention, your money, your energy, they all flow toward the promise of almost. Almost successful. Almost free. Almost happy. The illusion is clever. It dresses itself in progress. It whispers that peace is one more milestone away. And because that whisper sounds like motivation, you believe it. You start mistaking restlessness for drive. You start believing that contentment is laziness. And you start living in a constant state of not yet. You scroll through lives that look complete, not realizing everyone is doing the same thing. Chasing an image of enoughness that no one has ever actually touched. The world sells you the idea that peace is earned, that worth is built, that happiness is a prize reserved for those who never stop. But the truth is, more is a mirage. It gives you direction but steals your arrival. It promises fulfillment but delivers fatigue. It asks you to keep moving. Faster, harder, longer. Until you forget what stillness feels like. And the cruelest part? When you finally pause, you feel guilt instead of gratitude. You've been trained to feel uneasy in peace. To fill silence with noise. To fill rest with productivity. To fill enough with more. That's the illusion. The more you have, the less you feel. The faster you climb, the further you drift from yourself. And somewhere, in the blur between next and now, you stop noticing life as it's happening. Moments become checkboxes. People become milestones. You forget the sound of your own thoughts. Because you've outsourced your worth to applause. The illusion of more is powerful. Because it's never fully wrong. There's always more to learn. More to give. More to experience. But without the anchor of enough, more becomes an addiction instead of expansion. And addictions don't end in satisfaction. They end in emptiness. It starts innocently. A spark. A dream. You imagine a better version of your life, clearer, cleaner, louder with purpose. You start running toward it. And it feels good. The world rewards movement. You hit your first milestone. Maybe it's a promotion, a number, a title, a moment of recognition. For a second, you feel it, that intoxicating mix of pride and relief. You whisper, "I did it." But then, almost immediately, another voice rises. Now what? You scroll, you compare, you plan, you set a higher target. The joy of arrival dissolves into the anxiety of the next climb. You begin to measure your worth not by what you feel, but by how far you've climbed. You start believing rest is a form of regression. That slowing down means falling behind. You start equating silence with failure. And suddenly, peace feels like a threat. You tell yourself it's passion. You tell yourself it's discipline. You tell yourself, "I'm just getting started." And maybe you are. But sometimes, getting started becomes a life sentence. An endless loop of beginnings that never allow you to arrive. Society calls this ambition. But it's not always growth, sometimes, it's just motion. You wake up earlier. Work later. Check more boxes. Post more achievements. But the satisfaction you thought you'd find keeps slipping away. Just one more milestone out of reach. The world claps for your progress. They say, "Keep going." They say, "You're killing it." But no one asks if you're okay. Because in this culture of constant movement, stopping looks like surrender. We confuse success with survival. We confuse being seen with being safe. And in the noise of achievement, the quiet question of, "What am I really chasing?" gets drowned out. You think the chase will end when you finally have enough. But here's the secret. You can't find enough by running faster. Because enough isn't ahead of you. It's underneath you. And the faster you run, the further you move from it. So what is enough? If it's not the number in your account. If it's not the title before your name. If it's not the crowd clapping when you walk off stage. Then what is it? Enough isn't an achievement. It's a frequency. It's not something you reach. It's something you tune into. It's the quiet hum of peace beneath all the noise. Always there. Waiting for you to remember it exists. You can't chase it. Because the chase itself is what silences it. You can only notice it. You can only return to it. Enough is the breath after the climb. The moment between effort and exhale. The simple act of sitting still without needing to prove something. It's the meal that doesn't need salt. The silence that doesn't demand noise. The conversation where you stop planning what to say next. And actually listen. Enough doesn't need applause. It doesn't need witnesses. It doesn't even need to be perfect. It just needs you. Present, open, and unarmed. But that's hard, isn't it? Because presence feels unnatural when you've lived your life in pursuit. Stillness feels empty when your worth has always come from movement. You think peace will come once you've done enough to deserve it. But peace was never a trophy. It was a doorway. A doorway that only opens when you stop knocking. When you stop rehearsing the future. And start listening to the moment. When you stop trying to fix every silence. And start realizing that silence is not absence. It's arrival. Enough isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't scream, "You've made it." It whispers, "I've been here all along." You can feel it in the morning light. That doesn't ask for your achievements. You can feel it in laughter that doesn't need an audience. You can feel it in the spaces where nothing spectacular happens. Yet everything finally makes sense. This is the forgotten frequency. The rhythm beneath the rush. The home beneath the hunger. If enough is always within reach, why do we run from it? Why do we fear the quiet? Why does stillness feel like failure? Because for most of your life, you've been taught that your value lives in motion. That to be seen, you must be doing. That to be worthy, you must be becoming. Stopping feels like disappearing. Like stepping out of the current while everyone else keeps swimming. You imagine being forgotten. Left behind. Replaced. So you keep moving. Not because you want to. But because slowing down feels unsafe. There's a strange kind of terror that lives in stillness. The kind that asks uncomfortable questions. What if I've been running in circles? What if I'm not as happy as I pretend to be? What if all this effort is just a distraction? You drown those questions with motion. You fill every silence with noise. You build routines around distraction. Emails, notifications, achievements, goals. Anything that keeps you from facing the quiet. But here's the truth you already know. When you're always running, you never really arrive. Stopping doesn't mean giving up. It means facing what you've been avoiding. The world won't teach you how to stop. It's built to keep you moving. It thrives on your momentum. On your fear of missing out. On your belief that rest is waste. But rest is not waste. Rest is repair. Stopping isn't quitting. It's listening. It's the only moment when you can finally hear what's underneath all the striving. The fear of stopping isn't really fear of stillness. It's fear of seeing yourself without your armor. Without the job title. Without the numbers. Without the applause. Just you. Bare, breathing, and enough. That's terrifying. Because you've spent so long trying to earn your place in the world, that you forgot you already had one. Stopping forces you to face that truth. And once you do, you'll see how heavy the chase has been. You'll see how much peace you've postponed. How much joy you've traded for motion. So how do you return to enough? How do you hear that frequency again? After years of tuning it out, you start by noticing. Notice the breath you've ignored. The warmth of sunlight on your skin. The sound of wind that doesn't demand applause. The small, unremarkable moments that don't fit into your highlight reel, but quietly hold your life together. Enough lives there. In the pauses. In the space between accomplishments. In the seconds that never make it to social media. You rediscover enough not by reaching higher, but by looking closer. Every morning you wake up, that's enough. Every person who still loves you when you're quiet, that's enough. Every dream that's still unfolding, even imperfectly, that's enough. Enough is not smaller than more. It's deeper. It's not a retreat, it's a return. You don't have to renounce ambition to feel enough. You just have to stop confusing growth with escape. Ambition can live in harmony with peace. Success doesn't have to silence simplicity. Progress doesn't have to destroy presence. When you act from enoughness, you still grow. But your growth is rooted, not frantic. You still chase dreams. But you're not running from yourself anymore. Enough gives you freedom. Freedom from proving. Freedom from performing. Freedom from pretending that every season must be a climb. Because sometimes the most productive thing you can do is breathe, pause, feel, and simply exist in this exact, unedited moment. You begin to see that life isn't waiting for the next chapter. It's happening now. In the quiet spaces you rush past. Enough doesn't ask you to shrink your dreams. It asks you to expand your awareness. To see that what you've been chasing is already within the walls of your ordinary life. The laughter that doesn't need to be recorded. The sunset that no one else will see but you. The stillness that whispers. You don't need to do more to deserve peace. That's the rediscovery. Not a lesson you learn once. You keep chasing more. More success. More validation. More meaning. Not because you're greedy, but because you've forgotten what enough feels like. Enough isn't a finish line. It's a frequency. And when you stop running, you can finally hear it. Enough is the breath after the climb. The meal that doesn't need salt. The silence that doesn't demand noise. Peace was never beyond the next win. It was in the space between them. It was in you. All along. So pause. Breathe. Look around. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not lacking. You are here. And that is enough.